Welcome to Soul Sisteries. Hey there, and welcome to Soul Sisteries. We just had a wonderful and heartwarming and real discussion with Catherine Lamarche Horney and her Lamarche Horney art. It really is a wonder how she came to her art. It's so inspiring. I mean, she wasn't an artist, no training at all, and now is doing this amazing, brilliant work, fully self-taught through just the inspiration and the direct guidance of her late husband. Amazing.
And I can't wait for y'all to meet Catherine, who is somebody who gives me so much inspiration and hope. And I am truly blessed to have her in my life. And I can't wait for you all to have her in your lives also.
Listen in.
We are here today with Catherine Lamarche Horney, who first came to painting after losing her husband, when a reading with a medium revealed that he wanted her to paint to work through the pain of losing him. She uses her art to process and express complex emotions. And I'm really excited to welcome Catherine because I met her almost 6 years ago when we both kind of went on this journey of grief and loss recovery together. So welcome, Catherine. So excited to see you here.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Welcome, welcome.
So I know you and I have spent a lot of time together, and in an earlier show, I just kind of mentioned you in passing, and we were excited to have you join us hopefully soon. And so here you are. And I would love for you, and I know you've spent some time with Donna also over the last years, but I would love for you to just kind of share with people listening why you're here, kind of what your journey is. And obviously we invited you here because I think you do have a story of hope that is really worth sharing with people. And so if you'll share what share with everybody.
Well, and also I love your hope through word that you shared with us, and I would love to see how that plays into your story as well, which is you shared hope through determination. Bravo that. So, yeah, Catherine, what has brought you to this point?
Well, it was determination, and I was so shattered when I lost Jim. And Diana knows we were in a big widows group with like 11,000 women in it. And there were women who were like 7, 10, 14 years in and were just still so broken and didn't want to live and were basically waiting to die to be with their husband, which I think is very common in the beginning. But I was terrified of going that many years in that frame of mind.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I was desperate. And like when I had the medium reading and she said, he wants you to paint. And I had a painting behind me. She says, not arts and crafts stuff, a painting you hang on the wall, like what's behind your head. And I had never done it before. And I was like, at that point, she could have told me anything. I was desperate. I was like, whatever she says, I'm going to try it. So I did. And I started painting and I started with him. I started with one of him. I'm going to repaint it now and see how far I've come since then. But it showed possibilities. It was like, it wasn't great, but it wasn't too horrible. And I thought, oh, okay, well, let's keep doing this. It felt good. So I was imagining where he would be, what his heaven would be. And him, I know it could be mountains. He loved the mountains. So I did a picture of him sitting in the mountains. And that's where the painting started. And it just went from there. And I just kept learning and doing. And then I thought, maybe I should turn this into a little business, at least, have it support itself. And I thought, well, I can't do that. What am I crazy? I can't. That's nuts. And I thought, well, why not? Other people do it. Why not me? So it's a lot of why not and just digging my heels in especially when I'm afraid. Because that's one thing nobody tells you about grief is how terrifying it is and how you're afraid of everything and nothing all at the same time.
Yeah.
Right, because the ground no longer is solid under your feet, and the impossible has happened. This
Yeah.
person who is an anchor, a rock in your life is not here in the same way. And that's so unsettling, as we all well know. But Catherine, so you talk about this so casually and so I did. I started to paint. But what was that? How did you work with a teacher? Did you just trial and error? Did you YouTube? What did you do?
It's been a combination of trial and error and looking things up on YouTube. And I took a couple of workshops, but I didn't really find them helpful, to be honest. So I found that learning by doing is just how I move forward. So I say, you know what, I'm going to do a painting that shows raindrops or on a window, and I'm going to learn how to do that particular element. So I do that, and then I move on. Okay, what do I want to learn now? Now I'm trying portraits, and I'm doing a dear friend who I've known since kindergarten, and it scares me to death. And it's still sitting on the easel, and I'm just kind of living with it and seeing if I like it or not before I give it to her. So it's just constantly growing and learning.
Yeah.
I've been lucky enough to kind of watch you on this journey, and I could remember the first painting you did. That was good. I mean, like the women with us were impressed, like, oh my gosh, look what Catherine did. But looking at what you're doing today, it's just crazy. You know, I'm not an artist, but I come from a family of artists, you know, actual working artists who were amazing. And your work is on their level. And I know you said that you know, Jim gave you this message to paint, and then you kind of worked with him a little bit to see where he would be. But I think that a lot of what you do comes just very intuitively. And even you gifted me with a painting when I moved across country, not knowing all the specifics of my situation, I guess I'll say. But what you painted was perfect.
Yeah.
And, you know, and I'll just, even the boots, the detail in the boots that you put in the painting, you never saw a picture of the boots, right? But you did this amazingly. And so I do believe that Jim and others continue to work through you and make sure that, you know, the message comes through loud and clear.
So let's dig into that a little bit more. Also, Catherine, your process of really just even believing this. I know determination, and you said I'll try anything, but really, what is it that, well, one, brought you to the medium, and two, gave you that thought, well, this medium is speaking truth to me, and this is really something I should do? Because the reality is that most people would blow that off and go, yeah, right. And that's not real in any way, shape, or form. And even when speaking with a really great medium, there are many people who are in, you know, states of denial about it, or it's too hard to let themselves sink into the believing of it and allow the truth. And we know through experience, the more you allow yourself to accept, the more evidence you get and the bigger it becomes until it's just so undeniable. That's our experience, right? So I'm going to turn it back over to you. What would you say about all that?
Well, you know, I definitely think a lot of it's intuitive. And yes, I talked to David while I painted that. And I looked for pictures of those boots, and they were nowhere for me to be found. So I was like, okay, you got to help me out here, David. And I do believe that. And I talked to Jim, and I invite him and say, honey, let's paint today. What should we create? And I talked to my aunt, who was an artist, and I say, you know, Aunt Tootie, I could use a little help here. I'm struggling a little bit. And I invite other people into my process, people who have passed on and are on the other side waiting for us. I do bring them in, and I invite them in, and I do believe they help me. I absolutely believe that.
Oh, I
And it
know that's
feels good.
true. Yeah, I know that's true in my mediumship. I always sit with the intention, and I invite those I love who have transitioned into the support of the work that I'm doing. and I can tell who and what is offering and guiding and directing. And that's just beautiful and amazing. I'm so curious and interested also because another medium has told me recently I need to incorporate art into my mediumship work, and that nope, just jump in, you've got it. And I have a little bit of training, and we do come from a family of artists, but nothing like that. Though I do have a picture I drew of Kenny over on my wall there, and it's pretty good. It's pretty good, I will say. But Catherine, I just on the daw boots, it is spectacular. I saw it right after it arrived at Diana's house, and it was just everything about David, and it's beautifully done. It's beautiful on its own, but what it conveys, I can speak to the authenticity of that. It's gorgeous.
Thank you.
And the other thing, and people might be thinking like, well, what do you mean she's painting? You don't just paint. I mean, I don't even know what size. I can't even, I was going to call it a palette. That's not a palette. What do you paint on? A canvas.
Canvas.
I'm thinking like, a 8.5 by 11, a 16 by 14 or whatever. It's not just that. You've done these huge murals. Even, I mean, you do ones that are brought out kind of to offer hope at college campuses, but also you painted a whole 2-car garage wall from top to bottom, side to side. And like that, I mean, things that I think would take months to do, you turn around in a weekend. I don't know how that's possible. I mean, it's determination, yes, but there's something.
And I don't know how to explain except that it is intuition, instinct, connection. It's all of it, and practice, of course.
And the yes, and the yes, the openness, because it's nothing.
Yes.
All of that is nothing without your okay. Here I go.
Exactly, and that's my part of my being determined to work through fear. I don't want to let things hold me back. And if I have to live a new life without Jim, I want it to be one with purpose, and I want to learn whatever lessons I'm supposed to be here to learn. So I've had to, dive into the shadows of my being and kind of dig through and figure out what I'm supposed to learn, where I'm lacking, where I could thrive and I'm not out of laziness or fear or whatever. And just really do a lot of soul searching and resetting my goals and going after them when I can.
That determination does require a lot of saying yes. And I know we've talked about this before. In the earlier life, not saying yes to everything, doing what was comfortable because we had our partners, right? And there was this pattern we fell into. And then all of a sudden, everything is scary, right? Because you have to do everything by yourself. Even, both of us made huge moves and did. But you've said yes to this art, yes to selling the art, yes to doing these huge murals for the college campuses, yes to going back to your musical roots, right? Yes to quitting a job that wasn't serving you. I mean, things that for when we were in that other group, we saw people that were not saying yes to things, people that were shutting their door and staying inside. And while we did that during COVID, I think it was like, it's time to go, and it's time for you. You're doing all the things that Jim would want you to be doing right now.
I believe so.
I think there's the thing, and I can relate. I hadn't lost a spouse in the same way, but my son, and found those same rooms and had that same response. Like 5-10 years from now, this cannot be my story, that I am sitting in this same anguish. There has to be another path. And then finally found another group that did validate and support that. And then, doors opened and here we are. But I think you both would agree that there's that the grief can go in two different directions depending on your choices. You either can just sit in it and be buried by the weight of it and the impossible loss, which still remains. Like, that doesn't change. That still exists. Or you can license, I guess. There's a license that the grief offers if you allow it, which is why not? And what have I got to lose? And here we go, because I can't fall any further. So there is only up, right? So there's something really beautiful and a real blessing in that. What do you think, Catherine?
No, I absolutely agree with that. And I'm grateful to that group that scared me
Mm.
because otherwise, I was very comfortable in my grief as painful as it was. It was like I had an excuse to just sit within myself and be miserable and not have to do anything about it because I had this horrible thing happen in my life. And I'm so glad that that's not the route that I took because I don't think I couldn't stand it. And I know that's not what Jim would have wanted for me. He would want me to excel. He believed in me more than I'll ever believe in myself. He thought there was nothing I couldn't do. And I was like, oh, but yeah, I think, and we learn to live with the grief. It doesn't ever go away. I still sometimes just burst into tears for no good reason. And I've learned to just sit with it, feel it. And, I think we've all learned that the way onward is through. You have to go through it. You have to sit with those feelings. You have to feel them. You can't bury them.
Yeah.
So I also see people who deal with grief through drinking and drugs or sex or, anything to distract themselves from those feelings. And that does not help you at all.
No.
Yeah, for that brief moment, for that little twinkle, but that's it. And then oftentimes leaves with a residual of worse than, afterwards.
Exactly.
And you already said this, that the hope lives among all this other stuff. And the journey for you, this journey started, right during COVID, where the world had kind of shut down and it was a difficult time for many people, not just for those of us dealing with, our loss and grief. But we got through that and we thought, okay, yay, we're through that. Now we're on to these things that we've created for ourselves. And then the world is a crazy place right now. And I know we're all dealing with that also. But it is, even with this craziness and fear and uncertainness, we hold on to that hope, right? And I think through all these crazy things, your determination and focus continues to give you hope, right?
Yes, absolutely. And, we've also had to learn to comfort ourselves where we were used to this strong
Mhm.
person bringing us comfort. And so we have to figure out how to make ourselves okay in really horrible situations. And I've really struggled with the state of the country right now. And I've shed a lot of tears and that's fine. I go ahead and I shed them and then I figure out what I can do in my own life and what I can't, but I acknowledge what's going on and I take what I can. Like, I haven't read Nobody's Girl yet, but I am going to read it. I'm going to witness that poor woman and what she went through. And I do it in my own time. And then, I give myself breaks when needed. Yesterday, I played a video game all day long and I did nothing else.
Good for you.
I ran through India and I hunted for artifacts and I swung in trees and, and it was wonderful. And it was just what I needed for one day. And now I
Yes.
feel ready to face everything again.
And I love that because I know that's something that you used to do, that you
Yes.
enjoy video games, and all these things kind of go on the back burner, right? Because we don't have time for it. Life moves on. We're too focused on just surviving. But going back to the things that gave you joy, including your music, right? You played when you were young. And to go back to that and find out, oh my gosh, these are still things that make you feel alive is really important. Yeah.
Yes. And they remind me that I'm not just Jim's widow.
Yes.
I'm also, I'm relearning who I am again as a person, because, we take on so many roles in life anyway. We're mothers, we're sisters, we're aunts, we're daughters, we're wives, we're everything. And we I tend to sometimes lose myself in those roles. So it's nice to take the time to get back to my core being and the things that bring me joy personally and as an individual person, not as, we're proud of our children and they bring us joy in their ways, but just by myself. What is important to me, what makes me happy, what makes me comfortable, and helps me deal with things that aren't comfortable. And it's been good finding those things again.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I understand exactly what you're talking about. I'll just briefly. So the producer of our show, Kirk Lane, hi Kirk, has a, a band called the Darrells, and they play clubs in the area and private events and whatnot. And I knew he was performing a week or two ago and decided on impulse, you know what, I want to go see, because I love he does a lot of, retro 70s, 80s, 90s music. And his wife is a good friend of mine. I'm like, hey, you going? She was. We went, we danced. I had a couple drinks. I'm not a drinker. 2 drinks for me is a huge amount. And I just listening to this music, dancing, being with friends. I sat there while I was dancing, had this awareness, oh my God, I'm having fun. This is just fun. Oh yeah, fun. And it was this,
Yeah.
I just felt incredible with the simplicity of this. And that is true to who I am. I love to dance. I love music. I love being with people I love. And so, what a simple way to embrace life. And I still feel like so proud. Hey, I did that.
You should. You absolutely should be proud.
So let's go back a second because for many people listening, they'll be like, well, what do you mean you talked to Jim? You said earlier you talked to Jim. And I think many people who lose people will talk, but not expectation that they're going to receive anything back. Right? And I know that you're talking to Jim and you are hearing back from him. Tell us about that. Tell us a little bit about that journey. How did that come to be, and what is that for you?
Jim and I had a very tight bond. We were the type of couple, I guess a lot of people might even call us codependent. We did everything together. If we could have been together 24/7, we would have been. That's how we like spending our time. So to me, it was not really a surprise when after he passed, I heard his voice. I saw him. One of the things that we did for each other when the other was feeling down, we would do a silly dance. And I was out in the garage. I was outside smoking. That's back when I was smoking. And all of it, I was crying. I had the radio on, and then he appeared before me, and he was dancing in the middle of my garage. And I just sat there very still, and I was afraid to blink or move that he would disappear.
Yeah.
And it went on for quite a few seconds, and it just I was like, that's it. Okay, he is here. I believe it. And I'll hear him every now and then. I'll look, we walk past a mirror and we're getting older, and you look at it and you go, oh, who is that? And then I hear his voice go, that's my beautiful wife. Mm-hmm. And I hear him. It's not all the time, and I can't have, long conversations with him, but he pops in when he can, and he lets me know that he's there and he's with me and he's watching. And I think he looks over me.
I know he does. I've had the great blessing of being able to sit with you, Catherine, and read also. And I know that I've met Jim as well in that circumstance. And I know this guy that you're talking about, and I've felt that love that he feels for you. And I know that connection between you two is so deep and strong and easy. Is I remember how he presented to just so easy to fall into each other.
And I just want to say, going back to this determination, you said you can't have long conversations with him. And I want to add yet, because I think, and you and I do talk about this also, that with the focus and the determination, that is certainly possible. And like you said yes to all these other things, and finding out who you are aside from Jim's wife, right? Or Jim's widow. And so there's been 5 years of let's focus on who I am and what do I need and what kind of work do I want to do and how do I want to show up in the world. And I think that long conversations are still coming.
I believe that too. I can see that for sure.
So, Catherine, in the world today, those among us here, who is it that is inspiring you and supporting your determination?
Oh, it's really just anybody who is standing up for vulnerable people at this point,
Yeah.
because I don't know what personally to do yet. I haven't figured out how I can help in any way. So when I see other people standing up for vulnerable people, I just am automatically drawn and just in awe of them and so proud that they exist.
Yeah.
And they inspire me to start thinking about what can I do, even if it's just expressing how I feel about what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah. And through your art, certainly that is a way. I would love to walk in one of those protests with Catherine Lamarche Horney um, banner, right? And
Oh, you've got my brain just a going.
yeah, yeah. I think of Mary Engelbreit, the artist, and most people know Mary's work, and a lot of her efforts these days are in that very thing, and putting out pins and posters and flyers to support, because we do what we can, and together, the millions of us who see this and feel this together, we create the change.
Yes. And it is millions, whether people want to know that or not.
It is absolutely millions. And oftentimes it's the power mongers who are loud, right?
Sure.
Who are loud. Yeah. So onward we go. And we know that the universe is constantly, constantly, constantly moving towards order, right? Moving towards alignment. This is like universal law. So that is happening despite the chaos that we see. That is what is at work constantly.
And I still believe that year of the fire horse is really going to bring about some good things. We have a new year, January 1st new year, but we don't have our lunar new year yet. That's still to come. And I still think it's going to bring magnificent things. And hope used to be so pretty and soft in my earlier years. But now Hope she's tough. She's a warrior. She's
Mhm.
she's grit and
And
fight
determination.
and determination.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Amen, sister. I want that on a t-shirt. Can you do it? Create it, please. And
Okay.
I'll make those shirts. Everyone, watch Catherine's site, and then you can jump in. Oh, that's beautiful. Go ahead, sis.
That's okay. A couple things ago, but what about? I think probably it's time for us to jump into some of our rapid fire questions.
Let's do it.
This is where, Catherine, we are going to just kind of throw some questions at you, and really the intent that you just share the first thing that comes to mind. You don't have to think about it. If you feel like you want to think about it, that's okay. But we'll just throw some questions at you and see how you respond. But if you were walking onto the stage collecting this big award you're getting for your artwork, or just your sheer presence, what your walk-in song? Music blaring, what do you hear?
Oh, get up,
Yeah.
Good
shine
one.
down.
Okay, awesome.
All right,
That's what I listen to when I need to be inspired to get unstuck.
Okay.
Well, that is the perfect song then. All right, what book changed you?
Oh, I don't know that a book has changed me. I can tell you that my favorite book is
Mhm.
The Historian by Elizabeth Kostova, I think is her name. I don't know, you have to look that up to be sure. But it's one that Jim and I both enjoyed together. and we took turns reading it because this is before Kindle, that sort of thing. So it's just it had a little bit of Dracula and a lot of travel and a father-daughter relationship. It just had a lot of elements that touched me.
Hey, I like making my list of books that everybody likes. So I'm going to look. So very good. What movie lives rent free in your brain?
Fried green tomatoes.
Yes.
My absolute favorite. And that's another thing. I will yell Tawanda when I need some superpower to get through something.
Absolutely. I got to go back and rewatch that. Great book, also. Yeah. What did you love doing as a kid that you love doing to this day?
Being in nature. I would follow storm drains and see where they took me and play in the woods and climb trees. And that is my happy place.
And so I just need to add, since I've known you for these last several years, Catherine is a true life Snow White. She plays and the animals come to her. Not only her dog and cat, but the deer and the raccoons and the squirrels. Sadly, the snakes also. All of the animals wait for Catherine to feed them. If she runs out of food, they will make sure that she knows she needs to get, some pictures. And it is like Snow White, just, out by the wishing well with all the animals surrounding her.
That's so great. I think I've seen a couple of photos of that, of the animals all gathered around. I love it.
I call them my outdoor babies. I tell my dog and cat, I say, I'll be back. I have to go feed the outdoor babies now. It's their turn.
That's so sweet.
What in your world is lighting you up right now?
My animals.
Mm.
They get me up in the morning. I don't want to get out of bed, and I look and I see their sweet little faces, and I'm just like, oh, I can't believe I have you. You make me so happy. You bring me so much joy. Good morning, babies. And I sit on the floor, and they each are on one side licking me, and we make a big deal of starting the day together. That's how I like to start my day.
I love that. I love we make a big deal out of starting our day together. That's beautiful.
Yes.
All right, Catherine, what color is hope?
Well, as an artist, I see it as white. I think it doesn't have any color. We add the color.
I like
We
that.
decide what color hope is at any given moment. It can be multiple colors. It can be just red, or it can be just yellow, or it can be a rainbow of colors. At any time, changes constantly.
Yeah, I like that. And I'm looking out my window at all white snow, and it is very hopeful. And it's just like, ooh, it could be anything from here, right? Just like
Yes.
campus. So, what does hope sound like?
Birds singing. I love bird song. I even have fake bird song in the house for when I get stressed out or anything. And some people, they like to hear ocean waves and stuff like that. I have bird song and I turn it on, and I have birds singing in the house. And I find it just so peaceful and calming.
That's a great idea. I think I'm going to add birdsong to my
It's very
life.
nice.
That's beautiful.
See, just
On a plant.
That is super cool.
Oh,
I love it. Okay, I'm going to find that. Catherine, so much fun talking with you, really. I love hearing your story, and I feel so inspired by you. How can people find you and your art in the world? Where do they go?
I'd go to I have an Etsy shop, and it's Lamarche Horney Art. And Lamarche Horney, it's my last name, it's my maiden name, and Jim's last name. It's what I chose when we got married, chose to hyphenate. So I wanted him to remain part of it. So I used the full last name. And I have an Etsy shop. I'm also on Facebook and Instagram.
So pretty easy to find.
Yeah, very easy to find.
Yeah.
There aren't a lot of Lamarche Horneys out there in the world. Actually, I think there's just me.
Well,
and I wanted to say that, like, that determination again, not knowing how to use Instagram and Facebook as a professional and Etsy and just figuring it all out. And I know down the road you'll end up with TikTok and who knows what other things are coming out, but you'll probably be everywhere. But right now you said Etsy, Facebook, and Instagram, all Lamarche Horney art.
Yes.
Perfect. Well, everyone, check her out. She really is quite something, but more than anything, hopefully an inspiration to all of you that you too can find these amazing pathways through determination and just putting one foot in front of the other. There is always that hope, and that hope takes action. Thank you, Catherine, for sharing this time with us. What a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's been a joy.
So everyone, like, follow, review, share. We welcome your feedback. And hey, what's your own hope through? Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for joining us today on Soul Sisteries.
And thanks for sharing stories with us. We'd love to hear your stories as well and keep the conversation going, absolutely keeping the hope going. So we're really hopeful that you'll connect with our guests as well who have great stories to share. Go ahead and follow them in various social media platforms or live venues, wherever it is that they're performing and sharing what they do.
We would love to have you follow us on all of our social media platforms, subscribe and rate, as that will help us get our message of hope out to others.
Thanks for listening to Soul Sisteries.